Hello, and thank you for stopping by. I'm your host, Jerry-Royce, and welcome to Positive Power 21 Network, where you get your positive on. This is a worldwide podcast for growth, wealth, and success. Thank you.
Positive Power 21.org, Internet Radio.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the Jerry-Royce Show, and welcome to Positive Power 21, a.k.a. Power 21. I am the voice of Jerry-Royce, and when it's all positive, it's all power. That's Positive Power 21. And today's sponsor, my Gold Power 21 sponsors are the Resume Guy at www.career-image.com. We have fast tech solutions for your internet needs. They rebuild, install computer network infrastructure, and install wireless home systems for security for your home and business. And don't forget about REI Heritage Tours. They're having that big conference down on the Eastern Shore on June 13th through 14th. They're going to be honoring Harriet Tubman. And they have the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad Museum open, and you can stop by. So bring your big buses, big 44-passenger buses, and go down and see Roy Sampson. You can call him at 410-820-8350. Again, that's 410-820-8350. And he arranged to have you guys come down and tell you the good spots to stop off at to get some good Southern food. Don't forget about Lori Williams, the beautiful songbird out of Washington, D.C. She has CDs on sale, and she has some good music. So please join her. Please join her. So we like to thank Synovia Alexander, and she just released a book, and she has a book out there called Love Me to Death and Ghetto Love. Bernard Blue Rowell, we had him on the show a couple weeks ago. Son, I Got Your Back is about bullying, a very important book that I think anybody who's having problems with children having problems in school would be a great book to understand how to handle a situation like that, because it was about a dad who helped his son deal with some bullies in the neighborhood. All right. And last night I had a fantastic show with the Book Divas. The Book Divas on tour. We had K.R. Ray. She's releasing True Colors. Well, she has released True Colors, and that's what she's pushing right now. And then we have Sandra B. Swangin. She has a book coming out called Let Me Just Say This, and that will be released in August. But she's touring right now, showing some of her early releases of that publication. And don't forget about the attorney of the group, D. Lawrence. D. Lawrence has a book out called Gotta Let It Go. Gotta Let It Go. So you find out, go out to their Facebook page, Book Divas on Tour, and find out if they're visiting a town near you. And tonight on the show, we have Joey Pinkney, and he is your favorite book reviewer's favorite book reviewer, period, he says. And a little bit about Joey. Joey started out basically back in 2006. I remember when he was out there, too. I was rocking iRock Talk Radio, and I remember I was around 06, 07, and I remember seeing him out there. Now, Joey does what you call a 5-minute, 5-question interview with authors. It's like a series, and he calls that the labor of love. These series has featured self-published authors and authors from major publishing houses, virtually unknown authors, to authors that's in essence New York Times bestseller, male, female, urban lit, to science fiction, to nonfiction, to poetry. And his author interviews gives the authors a chance to explain their book from their perspective. The reader gets a behind-the-scene look at what to look to make that book what it is. And what used to be primarily African-Americans' vehicle for literary promotions now include authors from Canada, UK, Ireland, and Australia. So he is growing and doing his thing. And Joey, welcome to Positive Power 21. How you doing today, brother?
Doing good, man. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show, Jerry. It's an honor and a pleasure, man.
Oh, man, it's great to have you on here, man. We've been watching you out there doing your thing for a long time, and you are definitely the guru of social media. Anytime you're promoting authors that I guess you could say they're at the ground level, and then those who are already out there, obviously your services must have a lot of value. And we want you to tell our audience a little bit about your background before we get, into understanding how your business flow. Okay?
Okay. Well, for everybody out there, my name is Joey Pinkney. I have a website called JOEYPINKNEY.com. On that website, I do two things. I have author interviews and I do book reviews. I have an author interview series, which actually turned 5 last August 28th, turned 5. It's called the 5 Minutes, 5 Questions with Author Interview Series. And that interview series features hundreds of authors, like Jerry was saying, like anywhere from like the internationally known New York Times bestsellers. I've interviewed Faith Evans. She's a Grammy Award winner. But I've also interviewed a lot of self-published authors and authors that are not as well known. And also I do a lot of book reviews on that website also. Over the years, I started the website in 2006. So it's been growing ever since then, and over the years, I've actually started to incorporate social media into how I get the word out about authors and their books. And my digital footprint has grown tremendously over the years to include an international readership. So it's more, it's one of those things where it started out being small. Started out with just being a dream and an idea, and it's kind of grown into something that's actually taking a life of its own.
That's right. Now, Joey, you've been doing this thing since 2006, so you saw MySpace enter and exit. So right now, looking at what's out there right now, can you kind of predict what you think could happen, or is anybody out there peeking around the corner trying to jump into this game?
It's hard to make predictions like that because you never know what to take off. Like a lot of people like Instagram. I think Instagram is a huge hit in terms of being able to promote not only books but authors and their lifestyle and in contests visually because a lot of people are real visual. So and one reason why Instagram is a hit is because it's not only is it visual, it's real simple. It's picture based, and you can come in. So that something like that, it'd be hard to predict. When MySpace was out, there's something as simplified as like even Twitter. Twitter is like a simplified version of like what MySpace and Facebook are in terms of the number of options and how do you work it. But something that's like emerging, I would say something like even Vine. Like, we probably haven't seen the full potential of Vine yet. But, Vine.co is it's a website that a lot of younger people are using it's kind of like Instagram in a 6-second video. It's real visual, but the fact that you can actually, edit these real short pieces of video and not really need a lot of technical know-how. I think that right now, I don't think the full potential of something like that has really been tapped. It's kind of like in its infancy. Some people are really not taking it seriously as it will be taken. I think it will be taken in years to come. And one way you can kind of tell that Vine is on to something is the fact that websites like Instagram now that allow you to incorporate short videos into some of the into the way that you actually put pictures on your account. So but when you were talking about MySpace, I mean, like early on, MySpace was like really the go-to social media website. And one thing that was beautiful about it was that you had like a diverse group of people. You had a lot of different ways of getting information out there, from creating events to doing bulletins to bringing people to your wall and, where they can comment and stuff like that. People can comment on your pictures and your videos. And slowly, websites like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram took over because they kept those other websites kept progressing. They kept evolving into being more streamlined, into giving them customers what they wanted, as opposed to just handing, kind of force feeding, I should say. So just force feeding features to customers and the end user. these other websites actually like listen to what people actually wanted and what people was actually using. I think that's one reason why MySpace is a thing of the past. Because even today, I noticed somebody was telling me that when they post pictures, it automatically geotags the picture, like where you were, based on your IP address, where you were when the picture was posted to MySpace. Not everybody wants that information to be automatically given along with the post. And so you can actually turn it off. But, stuff like that MySpace is kind of, over the years has kind of like been stagnant in terms of their display, in terms of the way they roll features out. That's caused it to slowly decline in popularity. And, and now there's a lot of websites that kind of put the power back in the user's hand. I think that's something that's, like we were talking, the initial question you asked me was, what are some social media sites that probably be standouts in the future? And that's one thing that makes Vine so viable, is that, you can actually edit your own videos, tag them the way you want to, and put them out there, and it's really up to you and your fans to make it popular or not.
That's right. Because one of the things I didn't like about MySpace, that it just seemed like people was just tacking them up so bad, man. They were putting everything. It was slowing your machine up, and eventually people were starting to get viruses on their computers and their home network. That was bad. So I think that's what killed them the most, was they couldn't be trusted anymore. And I thought that Facebook did a tremendous job now allowing you to really tack it up. I think you want to have, if you're a real creative artist and you want to incorporate everything on that header, go right ahead if you're going to spend all that time, building it inside of Photoshop. But other than that, they keep it real basic, and everything's the same. It's just like going in a McDonald's. Every McDonald's look the same. They may have more chairs than the other one, but the menu's pretty much the same. So great.
You know where to get it.
That's right. So I like the way you broke that down. And I haven't had a chance to look at Vines yet, but I know people are starting to put things out there, but it looked like you're seeing more cruel things happening out there on Vines than anything professional for us, Now, I like what I was going to say. I like the way you got a feedback? I'm sorry. You still there, Joey?
Yeah, I'm serious. I was going to say, I interviewed an author a couple of months ago that actually wrote a book about how to effectively use websites like YouTube and, in particular, Vine to promote your book. And so there are some methods that you can take, and some things you can do professionally to actually incorporate Vine. But he was like, he wouldn't use it. The book is written to actually supplement your social media strategy, not necessarily to throw all your eggs into the basket that is Vine. So it's ways, and then, like you said, there are some not so savory things that are going on Vine or any social media for that matter. It's out there, but then. That's one thing I like about social media, is that it's like a metropolis. So even though there's some not safe for work things going on, there's a lot of positive things that, positive groups of people that are on these social media websites. It doesn't matter finding them and knowing how to best interact with them. Yeah,
that's right. And one of the things I noticed, a lot of the kids, like my children are 11 and 13, and my daughter always say nobody's on Facebook in her world, but in our world, it's still there, So they find the new social media because they always like to, to end things for them. So I'm glad that they're moving off of it. So, and then to me, Twitter has been a lot of our best friend. I'm starting to meet some really fascinating people, because they coming on in there and it's like, wow, who's this person? Look at them a little bit. And of course, Twitter don't allow you to go off and write a diary like you're allowed in Facebook, but it gives you that few seconds of fame to tell the world who you are. Yeah. And I like that.
Yeah.
Good. Now, you're a very strong user in Twitter now. Now, your business. Now you started out And I remember I was telling you earlier, Marie Folio, she said, some of the people who, the business you start today may not be the business you end up with in 10 years. Now, that's pretty much you. In 2006, you said on your website, you started out your site writing about weight loss and acne prevention. Tell us a little bit how you transitioned to what you are today.
Well, when I first started JOEYPINKNEY.com, the day I actually registered the domain name and actually decided to do something with it, my initial reason for doing that was to combine two things, my obsession with the Internet and my love of information. And so I was just like, what am I going to do with this website? And the first thing that came to me is like, write about, if you find something interesting, write about it and, take it to the nth degree. So that's why the first, maybe I'll say probably like 6 months to a year of the website, a lot of time I spent in the initial stages of that website was writing about like weight loss, acne prevention. At one point I was writing about pit bull breeds and stuff like that. And the reason why I was doing this because I was like, I found an interest in like some of the methods of weight loss, and I write articles about them. And then I also point to other resources, or I'll write about acne, and in writing about acne and looking through my search logs, I found that a lot of people was looking at back acne, which is an acronym called BACNE, and there was a lot of interest for that stemming from what I was writing about with acne. And so I started devoting a lot of time towards back acne prevention. And over time I started getting back to my true love, which is books, book covers, authors, stories, storytelling, and stuff like that. So I started transitioning from writing about just health-related issues to actually like focusing on books. And when I did that, I was trying to figure out like how I was going to approach it, because really what I wanted to do was totally focus on book reviews. And when I first started and I took the plunge, I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop writing about all these different things. And I'm actually going to just narrow my focus down to books. When I did that, I was virtually unknown in the publishing industry. Right. And so I had to beg a lot of authors, to gift me copies of their books so that I could review them. And, a lot of authors, with me being a virtually unknown book reviewer, a lot of authors thought I was out on, out to get them. They thought I was going to get the book so I can resell it on Amazon for next to nothing. And I was like, if I'm going to do that, I can just buy books for bulk. What I'm trying to do is actually promote you. But in the process, I know that book reviewers don't necessarily have to buy books, because the service in and of itself, of spreading the word about books and promoting authors and promoting your book is invaluable. And I did that from the very beginning. So what I started doing was doing book reviews for two particular websites. One was CNBBookDistribution.com and also UrbanBookSource.com. Those two websites, they gave me an early start. They gave me a chance to actually, get books funneled from them to me, and I would review them, and I'll post reviews on their website. And eventually I got the idea, and I was just like, if I'm going to be doing this amount of work for those two entities, I can just do that for myself, because I already had the website, and I was already writing about other things. And so that's when I started focusing in JOEYPINKNEY.com on actually my book reviews. And from there, once it started, to gain a little traction, and we were talking about MySpace, I was on MySpace day and night. I was posting bulletins, I was posting comments, I was commenting on other people's stuff, and recently people started noticing me, and they started noticing my book reviews. And it got to a point where I was getting like 3 books a week mailed to my house. Yeah, and 3 books a week don't sound like much, but then when you think about it in the course of a month, you got 12 books. 2 months, you got 25 books. You know what I'm saying? 4 months, you got 100 books sitting in your house that, and I couldn't read all the books as fast as I was getting them. And when we talk about evolution, one thing that started happening was I started trying to figure out, like, what would be a good way to still interact with these authors and still promote these authors and their books without me having to take the time to read a book, because when I had a full-time job, it was kind of hard for me to, sit down and read a 300-page book if I knew I was going to get another book in about 3 days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and I'm going to work, and I'm doing
pressure.
other things. Yeah, it's it's a lot of pressure, and it just wasn't enough hours in a day. So
it was no more fun.
5 minutes. Exactly. And then on top of that, I was getting some books that I didn't necessarily want to read. Like I was getting sometimes I was getting like books about that was catered towards females in high school or females in middle school. And, and I don't have anything against the books, but I as a boy going through middle school and actually surviving middle school and high school, I didn't want to relive all the gossip and the infight and the cheap boys, and I couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So those certain genres that I found out early on, I just didn't really want to deal with because I just didn't have a proclivity to it. I didn't have a inclination toward the subject matter. So I started, but that wasn't necessarily as important to me if I was going to be doing an author interview series. So I had an idea one day. Somebody approached me about reviewing their book, and I was like, I tell you what, how about we do a quick author interview, because it'll be quicker for me to ask you these 5 questions. You answer them. I format it, post it up on the website, and I can point people towards the author interview. And if they're interested, from the author interview, they can in turn go find the book on either Amazon or your website or whatever. And that's where the Joey Pinkney, JoeyPinkney.com 5 minutes, 5 questions with author interview series was born. And that, it's been tremendous. Man, when I first started out, one of the reasons why I was getting into book reviews and author interviews was to promote black authors and black books, because a lot of times that segment of the publishing industry does not get the same media attention and exposure as some of the New York Times bestseller, both black and white, but mostly like white books. Books by white authors in America tends to get a lot more media attention and a lot more social media attention too than the average black author. And so I wanted to kind of even the playing field, and that's another thing that early on, going from writing about health-related issues and posting articles about weight loss, and then I'm posting, book reviews. And then I'm starting to do author interviews for black authors. Once I started the author interview series, probably about like 6, 7, 8 months into it, it started taking a life of its own, because it became well known within the black publishing industry. Well, I don't know how good it was known, but I know I was getting a lot of attention for it because it was people that was actually pointed out to other authors. So I started gaining a little bit of attraction with the small circle of authors and readers that like those books, And eventually, I started having that's when I started incorporating Facebook and Twitter into the whole promotion avenues for the different author interviews I was doing. That's when I started getting like white authors saying, "Hey, I'm not black, but I do have this book, and I like what you're doing. I like the format. I like what you're doing to expose it, and I wonder if I can do it too." And that was also around, and at first I was charging like next to nothing to do it, and then I started, increasing my prices here and there and adding on different services. And my digital footprint started to grow tremendously, because not only were readers knowing me, but like publishers and other authors, and it grew organically. And next thing you know, not only do I have American authors, I started getting like Canadian authors and British authors that were, they were like, well, I'm not American, but I got this book and I see what you're doing and I like it. And it was certain times where I'll be promoting the author, and I'm like, after I've posted the interview and I'm actually doing a promo for it, and I'm like looking back at like the website of the author, and I'm starting to find out that some of these authors were like from Great Britain, other authors from like Australia. One author, he was like from a remote part of Australia that when I did the Google research on him, the place he's from was a small town in Australia that has less than 200 people in it.
Wow.
And I was thinking to myself, like, you know, here's this black guy from Fraser, which is a neighborhood in Memphis, Tennessee, that has by himself, is virtually by himself. You know, I've had help with, you know, with certain people over the years, but I basically grew an author interview series that has an international readership and also, you know, an international clientele, which is,
I know.
It blows my mind to this day to even think about that.
I
and so
know, man, it's fantastic.
I asked the guy, I was just like, you know, and this is after the fact. Like, I've already posted an author interview. I'm doing it from promos on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. And I asked him, I was just like, how did you find me? How did you come across me? You know, because I can see where, like, a lot of the black authors that I deal with, I can see how they find me because, you know, it's a small world in that industry. You know, like everybody, I won't say that everybody knows each other, but there are, it's you know, it's a smaller circle of people, but to have somebody from a small town or a small remote town with less than 200 people in Australia, I forgot the name of the town he's from, but to have somebody from way out there, I was just like, I'm curious to know, how did you find me? You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you? And he said, well, I published his book. I'm not having any success with it, and I was in a chat group on Amazon. And one of the people on there was like, you might want to give JOEYPINKNEY.com a try. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm just like, you know, it just amazes me, like, the different ways that people can come across you, you know. And I started doing, you know, from the author interviews, I started doing, like, author interview trailers, author interview video trailers. So what I would do is I'd take some of the wording from the author interview and incorporate it with images, and I'll make book trailers. But it wasn't for the book itself. It was actually to promote the author interview. And so, like, on my YouTube channel, I would actually, like, post these author interview trailers, and that took a life of its own also. And so, you know, like, when you're talking about with evolving over time, you know, like, we started out, we was doing MySpace. And then from MySpace, we, you know, started doing Facebook and Twitter, and Instagram popped up. And I haven't really done anything with Vine, but if I could figure out a way to make it effective, you know, I would definitely give it a try. But the cool thing is, like, you know, Twitter, my Twitter presence has grown tremendously. Like, I have 2 Twitter accounts right now. One of them has like 98,000 followers. And the other one has, I think I'm at 138, maybe 139,000 followers.
Yeah, 136. Yeah.
136. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's fantastic.
You know, you combine those two, and they're growing every day. After a while, I'm going to have, you know, a combined following of like 250,000. You know? Yep. And then when you add in the fact that I have, you know, there's like about 2,000 lists that I'm on Twitter. You know, these are people that are not necessarily following, but they have me on lists. So if you look at the list, you'll see my postings along with other people. And you look at, like, the SEO value of the tweets. You know, like, sometimes when people Google an author's name or a book title, if I've tweeted about it, my tweets will come up. Or if I've had them on my website, you know, they'll come up that way. And even, like, Google Images, like, if you go on Google, you click on images, and you click on Joey Pinkney, I mean, not click on Joey Pinkney, but if you type Joey Pinkney into the search engine and hit enter, you'll see, like, all these different graphics that I've made for the authors in the book to incorporate into the author interview series that I've done. So, it's just, you know, it's amazing. And
it is.
What happens is these things kind of they circle back onto themselves. Like, one day I was on Instagram, and it's happened a couple times on Instagram where I'm, like, searching through other people's accounts, and then I see a picture that has a certain hashtag, and I'll click on the hashtag, and I'll just scroll through. And a couple times I've done it, I've actually seen where either authors or readers or somebody like that would actually post the picture that I use on my author interview series on their Instagram account. You know, and that, you know, that's like you find extra exposure for yourself in places where you didn't even expect to see it. You know, like I didn't even know. my picture was on it. But one good thing that I like about that is I make a point to put my name, brand my name on the images. So at the top you will see at JOEYPINKNEY.com. You will see that, which is it's free advertising. And the cool thing is it's free advertising for me, but it also advertises the book and the author at the same time. So it's like a collective, cohesive, symbiotic thing, And
it is.
Who knew that would come from somebody who was just like, who was always like, I'm a nerd, so I'm like always looking on the internet, surfing and reading different topics and stuff like that. And from that, I was just like, man, I'm going to start my own website. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. I'm just going to start one because I love doing the internet and I love information. I'm going to figure out something. Next thing you know, here I am on your show talking about this author interview series and what I do with books and stuff like that. So it's just amazing. It's been an amazing journey.
It is, man. In business, man, that's the main thing. Now, Joe, you mentioned that you were doing it part-time while you was working because you were working in D.C., correct?
No, actually, I was in Raleigh, North Carolina working it.
Okay,
I was working it part-time, but now, this is what I do. I do it full-time. I live in D.C., and, I promote authors, and I mean, and it's a double-edged sword because in one sense it's cool because I'm self-employed and I pretty much can call my own shots, and I'm out here. I feel like I'm doing something positive for the book publishing industry. And
yes, absolutely.
But, on the flip side, you always would like to get more money. It ain't like I'm filthy rich, but I guess the flip side of that is, whereas I might not be rich, I can actually look back and say that the money that I've generated during the course of the month is something generated from my own ideas, and I don't have anybody telling me when I can go take a vacation or how am I going to spend my time. Yeah.
Or where to live at. Exactly. You live anywhere.
Yeah. I can. I can pretty much live anywhere doing what I'm doing now,
That's right.
So it's a blessing. It's a blessing, but, it's also a lot of hard work.
Absolutely.
A lot of people look at it and be like, oh, wow, so you're self-employed and you're doing it. Yeah, but it's almost like, when you hear people say no days off, it's virtually, you really don't have any days off. You're constantly grinding. You're constantly trying to figure out new things. You're constantly tying up old things and putting out old fires. So, it's that's another way it's evolved. It's actually like went from being a part-time thing to being actually something that's full-time. And, although it does take up a lot of time, it's a work of passion, so it's
That's right.
It's not like I'm building somebody else's dream, like if I am.
The good thing, too, man.
Yeah.
And the good thing, too, is you have the technology that you're taking fully advantage of, the smartphones, a laptop, a tablet, just like me, by me doing what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat with you. It's like I'm constantly looking at the different types of technology to kind of enhance what we're doing, because the bottom line is, and you got to feel good about it, man. You tapped into a marketplace that has millions of people who need what you do for them. It's just a matter how much exposure, you want to give them, and how much time you want to give each person before you move on to the next one. Because I was going to say the next question was going to be, how much can you take on in a 24-hour day, 7-day work week? Do you give yourself a day off? Do you say, hey, I'm not going to do no social media, I'm taking a day off, and it's just going to be Joey's day?
I think those days kind of come naturally. I mean, what I do, I love what I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm really passionate about it. It's very interesting to me. It incorporates everything from being creative to also being what's the other side? You got the creative side and you got the
innovative.
Yeah, innovative side. So you got like the abstract and you got the concrete at the same time. So like take for instance what I do with this website I just started called JOEYTweets.com, and basically what it is it's another evolution of what I do with books. I promote authors on my 2 social media accounts, and I tweet about them because I'm always tweeting about books. And so for authors that don't have a huge social media presence or a small digital footprint, they can tap into what I do. And in doing that, not only do I create tweets to have a certain format that's kind of what I've learned over the years of what makes a person click on a tweet. And I tailored a tweet, to have all the characteristics that make people want to look at it, but then also incorporate visuals, because a lot of people like to retweet and look at and favorite things that they can actually see, picture type things. And so
that's right.
It taps into my creativity to be able to create a graphic that incorporates the book cover, the book description, title, author's name, in a way that's visually appealing to somebody who may have never seen that book before, but they happen to see my tweet come across either by being retweeted, seeing it on the list, following me, and they'll see that book and they'll click. They might share the tweet because of the visual aspect of it, or they might even go and buy the book or ask me about the book, or ask the author about the book. And it's doing that. It's fun. It's a way for me to.
It sounds like it.
The other day, it's a way for me to be an artist in one sense, because I'm having to format and put the words in a certain place and the visuals and pick colors that's going to match the book cover, but also still be enticing. But then it's also a lot of concrete, like down to the nitty gritty. Like you had to put links in a certain way, use hashtags a certain way. You only got. We was talking about Twitter being like a microblog. You only got so many characters to actually push in a whole bunch of information. So what can you do to be as efficient as you possibly can with 140 characters in a way that you can actually still get somebody who has never seen that book before to actually click on that link and look at the book even further and possibly buy it. So it's
what it reminds me of? Joe, you know what it reminds me of? Remember when you were limited to those little small ads? You had to be real creative, because you know what your budget was to get those ads. You say, okay, what can I say in this ad to make people want to look at it and buy my direct marketing product, whatever it is? It seems like it's the same thing. It's like a small ad. Wow.
And then when you look at the ads, and you look at when I'm talking about search engine optimization, you look at the ads, you look at the pictures, and then I'm putting it on Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn. It's getting picked up by Google. I'm putting it on Instagram. So it's all these different places where people can actually interact with your book and see it and stuff like that. It's a science and an art at the same time to what I'm doing. So do I take days off? I get burned out sometimes. Some days I can't even. I wouldn't even care to look at my computer. You know what I'm saying? Some days I just don't. I just can't do it because I've probably worked 2 or 3 weeks in a row.
That's right.
So I do take days off, and then sometimes I have to travel. Like even right now, like I'm in a hotel room with my daughter. My daughter's name is Margaret Juella. She's actually going to be turning 7 this Wednesday. It's Monday today, so she's going to be turning 7 this Wednesday, and I'm actually
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yeah, thank you. So I'm actually hanging out with her in the hotel right now, getting some daddy-daughter time in. But, I'm taking time out to do this. But, it's like an ongoing type thing, where I'm blessed to actually be able to take this time and actually be able to travel and not have to ask a manager, can I go see my daughter for her birthday since we live in 2 different places,
That's right.
So, yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I know it's kind of tough, though, being in business, got to put the time you're putting in, and then your family is somewhere else, and you're in another city. But like you said, man, you don't have to stay there forever. I mean, I know you love the culture in D.C., but I always say it's a great town to visit, but not a place to live because it's so expensive.
Oh yeah. It is.
Right.
It's expensive, and then it's not every place is crime laden, but you got those things to worry about, and I guess the biggest thing is like trying to get around, So to be able to get out of there and spend some time somewhere where it's a little bit slower and not as hectic is always a blessing,
That's right, man. And one of the things I want to say before I let you go, we definitely going to have to hook up, man, and do a webinar. We got some authors out there that's been asking me, they want some exposure. They want to talk to some people that's been in the industry for a while. There's so much they need to learn. I said, okay, maybe I can find 2 or 3 publishers, a book review, and we can all get out there and do maybe a 2-hour webinar and invite all these authors to come in. Maybe we can unite, bring them in, and do something fantastic for them, man. Because that's what we're here, man. We're here to serve them, man. And one of the things I want you to answer this question before you go, Joey. That's one question. The second one is, because you're so visual, you have a very good speaking voice. Have you thought about incorporating video? You know, maybe just something, just you, or, you know, Joey Pinkney TV. You thought about that?
I've been toying around with the idea, and people have been telling me to do a show for years. You know, like I do host a show for it's a company called Tribe Family Channel. Basically, what they do is a lot of black localized programming. I host a show called Voices of Wisdom, where I actually interview authors, kind of like how you're interviewing me in an audio format it's a blog talk radio show. I do that for them, and also I have like a literary festival coming up with TribeFamilyChannel.com. But in terms of me doing my own show, I have been thinking about that. I've been actually like thinking about how would I put it together, and looking at the visual aspect. We were talking about the visual aspect, actually doing a video, doing it in a video format, probably, you know, doing episodes and figuring out ways to advertise different authors, different books, maybe even branch out and do some other products, maybe even do like music videos, or, you know, who knows. But yeah, I have thought about that. And you never know, man. Next year this time, you might have me on the show, and I'll be doing something totally different from what I'm doing now because of what we're talking about, the evolution of who you are as a businessman, as a person in the industry that you deal in. So, yeah, I have thought about that, and we'll see.
That's right, man, because the technology is so much cheaper. Because I was actually in Best Buy. My son is actually a audio-visual technician specialist for a defense contractor, and he was telling me that the same camera that he leaves in my house sometimes for me to use that I can't figure out, he said, Dad, that's the same stuff these guys use for high production. You have to get to learn how to use it. I said, well, why don't you just shoot it for me, and I do the show. But, you know, he's doing his own thing. He does, like, webisodes or something like that, and they keep him pretty busy. But I was going to tell you this, man, you know, because you're out there, so another value to your business would be a review. You know, you sitting there on camera reviewing all the books that you just went through for those clients, and I think they would appreciate that, man, you know, especially since you're you know, you hide out there on YouTube right now. All right.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. I thought about this too, like doing Drop Squad and just popping up on authors. You know, like if you doing a book signing in Chicago or Las Vegas or wherever, you know, I just go out there and I was like, you know, hey, I'm Joey Pinkney, JoeyPinkney.com. I'd like to do a quick video interview with you. You know,
that's right. That's right.
Getting the author where they are in their own habitat and just going there to ask them questions and, you know, like we're doing right now, just in video format. So
that's right.
Yeah, you know, that's something I thought about.
Yeah, man, because I was actually invited out your way last night to hook up with the Divas of on tour, book tour. But I was just so exhausted, man. From, you know, I help an international division. I mean, you know, people find out what you could do, man. It's like you just can't say no sometimes. I was just so tired from, you know, working for other people this weekend, and I couldn't even get out there because I was going to pull my iPhone out and shoot them in action because they actually had a meet and greet last Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. And, man, I was, like, so disappointed I didn't make it, you know.
Yeah. Another thing, speaking about branching out, another thing that I'm doing is I'm starting to transition from being an author interviewer to actually being an author. You know, like one thing I really want to do is actually start doing more writing and actually publishing my books as opposed to promoting other people's books, which I have no problem, you know, with that. But I actually want to throw my creativity out there and then, you know, and kind of grow in that aspect of myself also.
I know, yeah. Hey, you ever ask some of these authors what they're making, man?
Yeah. A lot of
isn't it something?
It is. Like, some authors are doing extremely well. Like, I know some authors are making like thousands of money. There's other authors that can't sell a book, you know, like in a year. So,
dude, I'm meeting some that's making over $25,000 a month in just ebooks. They don't even do paper books. They don't even do paperbacks.
You know, and they have a strong argument against why even go bother with like printing up paper when people are doing these impulse buys and they're downloading on Kindle, smartphones, Kobo, you know, Nook, you know, and their the audience is huge. Yeah.
Right. And the guys like you and I, we're the ones that's putting them out there, and that's when they can do the impulse buying. But I can see you and I taking advantage of that, because if a person is listening to your interview, they're watching your interview, and they see that person's book sitting right there on your site, like I noticed you're powered by Amazon. They can just click it and buy it right there. Bam. You made some money, you know. And guys are doing it, man. I'm noticing a lot of podcasters are making money off of other people's products, man. I mean, it's a guy I met that was telling me about how to do this. He makes like $500,000 a year easily, you know. So the money is out there to be made. It is.
It is. Tapping into those markets. I mean, why reinvent the wheel when you can just tap into somebody else's wheel, you know?
Yep, that's right. That's right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Joey Pinkney. Before you go, Joey, got 2 more minutes, man. Can you go ahead and have any final comments to our audience, man? Anybody looking to get into the book world?
Yeah, I would say one thing is be true to yourself. You know, be true to your own voice. Use your own imagination. Don't worry so much about what people will think about your book or the way that you're approaching the subject matter. But first, listen to your own voice. You know, I know you're your own critic, but make sure that you don't criticize yourself to the point where you don't actually put anything out there. I would say be consistent. Definitely learn the craft. Learn the craft of writing, learn the craft of marketing your books. And please understand, for people like me and Jerry, if you don't have the time and the money and the patience, or if you don't have the time to do it yourself, tap into people like us, and that's why our services are so valuable, because they cut out the amount of time, the learning curve. We already have in place our digital footprint. All you have to do is just tap into it. So that's what makes us valuable. I know a lot of times people want our services for free all the time, and it's just like, I would love to do this stuff for free, but I got bills to pay. You know, I got daughter, kids to buy stuff for, and I can't sit up and put 8 to 12 hours into your project for free, and then you turn around and sell X amount of books. You know, it's just not equitable for me. So, look at our services. If you don't have the time to do it for yourself, definitely look at the services like me and Jerry to actually boost your ratings, boost your exposure, and make it so that everybody can profit off of this.
That's right. And that's the lucky word, right? The magic word is exposure. Because remember when I first met you, man, we was doing iRockTalkRadio.com. We had Rock Publication and the Rock News Magazine, and all of them are still out there except for iRock. And iRock is still, people are still Googling it for some reason. I pull it up, man. I'm out there. Like you said, the digital footprint is forever, once you establish it.
It's etched in stone. Yeah, it's pretty much etched in digital stone. It's out there. So why not, that just shows a testament to your hard work. The stuff that you put out there is still viable information to somebody.
That's right. And we still understand this business, too.
Why not pay you to expose them?
And one thing, too, I want to, publicly tell Joey, I want to thank him for some advice he gave our organization, because, a lot of the people we have working for us is, we're a little older. We're trying to get the understanding. We're relying on the younger people to guide us. And, I'm not going to point no fingers in that organization, because we all learning this thing, but I was just so glad that he was there to say, hey, it's not like anybody wrote rules out there, but you have to learn the game. And we appreciate you looking out for our organization, man. 'Cause like you said, branding is the most important thing to, especially a black organization, because all you got is, I always tell my kids, you just got your social security number and your name. That's it.
That's right. And your name is your reputation after a while,
That's right. All right, man. But thanks for coming on, man. We want to hook up and do something together with these authors, man. Do something fun.
Sounds good.
And, let them know that we're the players out here, man, and we're here to help you.
Right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. That's Joey Pinkney. He is your favorite book reviewer's favorite book reviewer, period. Right?
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
All right. Peace out. Thank you for tuning in to the Positive Power 21 Network. Team 21 would like to thank you all for tuning in, and please spread the word and tell a friend. This is jerry-royce at Positive Power 21, where we get our positive on.
Positive Power 21.org, Internet Radio.
That's a wrap. Thank you for joining.